My friends at Sam Ash Direct reached out and asked, Benny, would you like to do some reviews of some Gibson guitars for us? That depends. Do you have any of the new Gibson Supremes? Yeah, Benny, we have all of them. What do you want? Can you send me the 2025 SG Supreme in wine red? On its way. Take a peek at the 2025 Gibson SG Supreme. Now from here, it can almost look black or just a wine red. But when you get closer, the peekaboo on this thing, it really is a beautiful top. The back has got this super beautiful grained mahogany in this bright blood splatter color. You have a really nice cap of maple on this thing. 24 medium jumbo frets, a Burstbucker Pro and a Burstbucker Pro Plus pickup, which we'll get into. Coil tapping on each pickup, which gives you some really unique sounds. You got the strap button right here. I've seen it over here, seen it over here. Ebony fretboard with the Super 400 split block inlays in mother of pearl. Chandelier design on these new Supreme headstocks was done by my friend Keith Medley, who designed the original Supremes. Grover locking keystone tuners. Slim taper neck with a compound radius fretboard. I don't know what it is, but the finish gets eaten up from far away. It's very subdued, but I have to wonder, especially with red dye, in 20, 25 years, if this is going to fade and get like this beautiful, crazy flame over time. Because as you can see, it's flamey as heck, but it's hard to see from far away. Kind of reminds me of the Blood Moon. Similar color, that blackish, dark red, but then you get up close and look at the top on this thing. The elephant in the room for me was this button here. Is this a good place for it? And is it gonna get ripped out over hundreds of gigs? One of my biggest complaints with having an SG is the neck dive. It always feels like I'm super far out here. The placement of this button and the added heaviness of this maple actually makes this the most balanced SG I've ever played, and it feels really good to me. Back in the day, when you would get a guitar and it had PAF humbuckers or patent number pickups in it, usually the bridge and the neck pickups were the same. The bridge pickup will be a little quieter because there's more vibration happening up here. If you have pickups that are the same winds, you tend to have a little bit more going on in the neck position than in the bridge position. One of the things that Jim DeCola, the head luthier, the man, my friend at Gibson did, he wound this Burstbucker Pro Plus a little bit hotter so that you can get a balanced sound going from lead or rhythm. It's the same volume. When you pulled these, it kind of seemed like it was an EQ or just like a different voicing rather than going to a single coil. I immediately messaged my friend Jim, when I pull these out, is it the same volume? What's actually happening? Jim explained to me that instead of literally tapping it on the coil itself, I use a frequency-tuned capacitor on the coil tap. That way, it's still partially hum canceling because certain frequencies go to ground and others pass. So it's quieter than true single coils when not combined, but fully hum canceling when combined. So to really understand that, we have to explain the difference between splitting and tapping. So say it has 10,000 winds. What happens when you split it is you isolate a coil. You're isolating 5,000 winds. It is absolutely a single coil. When you tap a pickup, you can tap into those 10,000 winds at 6,000 winds, 7,000 winds. So you basically have a whole coil and then part of another coil. So rather than having a true single coil sound, you can have a fuller, fatter tonal hybrid of the pickup. In the case of this guitar, Jim's using a frequency-tuned capacitor. What on earth does that mean? A lot of the noise that you would get from a single coil, because of that capacitor, those frequencies are being sent to ground. And that actually, when you go to the middle position, you have noise canceling. Take a listen. I really like how these pickups work when you're barely digging in. So I did this demo to kind of accentuate how much these pickups come to life as far as the dynamics. The thing to bear in mind is that the Burstbucker Pro and the Burstbucker Pro Plus are basically like the hot rodded PAFs from Gibson. Hotter wound, a little bit more highs, more lows, and obviously the Plus is even hotter than the Burstbucker Pro, so when you're doing those leads, you have no loss in volume. The Burstbucker Pros, instead of having Alnico 2 magnets, have much hotter Alnico 5 magnets, so you get kind of an extended range, whether you're playing metal or hard rock. These definitely excel, giving you a little bit more of that oomph. 1999, Gibson came out with the SG Supreme, which originally came with P90s in it. It was one step below the SG Custom, so the highest level SG you could get from the USA line. But they didn't have the Super 400 inlays that I've always associated when you say Supreme. Then by 2000, they decided, we're gonna put humbuckers in this thing. Gibson continued to make the SG Supreme like that until 2009. Then they took it away from us. Then in 2013, they came out with the Gibson SG Supra, which I've always thought was kind of the honorary SG Supreme, because the SG Supreme never came with this globe headstock, which I always associated with the Supremes. But the Supra did. Like the Les Paul Supremes at the time, it had a flame back and it had a flame top. The Gibson Supra is the SG Supreme that never was. 2016, they brought it back for a limited run with a carved top, very similar to the SG Diablo. Then the SG Supreme turns into the SG High Performance, which basically has the same features of what became the modern series. So when Gibson came back out with the Supremes, to me, it's the Supreme Modern series. The thing that ties them all together now is the chandelier headstock, the Super 400 inlays, and ebony fretboards. A slim taper neck with a 10-inch radius down here, a little bit rounder, and then by the time you get up here to the business section, a 16-inch radius, and it's really flat for those that can shred. These guitars come with bound rounded edges to the fretboard. It makes it feel more homey, like you've been doing this for years. I like that. This is the first Gibson SG that I have ever thought about playing on stage and using on a regular basis simply because of the way it's balanced. I don't know if this strap button's gonna last, but the way that it makes it fall is just right. Does the new Supreme series live up to the name? I can tell you what I think. I think I need the ES335 and the Les Paul sent to me stat so that I could, get to the bottom of this with you. Why don't you smash that subscribe button already?